Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the Sports Today Dugout. As is the habit over here at Sports Today, we like chatting up with you every evening. So here we are over the course of the next 40 odd minutes, perhaps an hour or even more. We've got plenty of time on our side now that the Indian team's not actively playing right now. That's not to say that there isn't any cricket happening, but we've got time on our side. So be with us as we chit chat about what's happening in the world of sport, in cricket in particular, and of course the topic at hand, which is about the Indian team's intra-squad match. But before we get to that, since that match is starting tomorrow, it goes all the way till the 16th. There are a few things that the Indian team would want out of it, but besides that, there's plenty of other things that are happening at the moment. One, of course, which needs a mention over here, and commiserations, in fact, to those who may have suffered any personal loss. It's a big story that's developing at the moment. So our condolences, our commiserations with those who are in a tough spot right now. Of course, I'm talking about the air tragedy that's happened in Ahmedabad. That's where the focus at the moment is. We're hearing that there could be involvement of top diplomat, a certain top politician as well. There's no confirmation, so I'm not going to be taking any names yet. But that, of course, is the big headline right now.
I think it's very, very disappointing as to what has really happened. You wouldn't really, wish for anything, like that happen. People would have been traveling from one city to another, from one country to another, probably, wanting to meet their near and dear ones, or maybe, going for any kind of a work assignment or something. You don't want this to happen, and whatever has been the case, I think it's just, heart-wrenching, to say the least.
It is
gut-wrenching.
Look where it happened as well. The flight had just taken off and it crashed in a residential area. I'm hearing perhaps there was a part of a hospital also. Not sure about that at the moment, but that has possibly resulted in more casualties. But
it was a hostel where 5 children were just having their lunch when that plane
lunch
crashed.
Yeah, so it's a developing story, and yeah, our heart goes out to those who may have lost their loved ones. But anyhow, let's switch back to cricket as we it's just very difficult for us as well, while there is a big WTC final happening as well. This sort of a story coming in today, it's dominated the headlines, and we've all been dragged into it in some way or the other. The visuals are just so evoking right now. But Shivam has now switched us back to the broadcaster that's showing the WTC final, where now let's give you a little update on what's happening at the Lord's Cricket Ground, where at 136 for 8 is where South Africa are. They've done a good job in the first session, losing just 1 wicket, showing a lot of intent which was absent yesterday. But Pat Cummins, the skipper known for silencing crowds, has once again gone ahead and delivered with the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for Pat Cummins, he is very adept at making any of the crowds silent, starting with Ahmedabad, a date that does not really exist. But, more often than not, it becomes a part of our discussion. And I think South Africa currently at 137 for 8, it's not really down to what has happened, today. I think it's down to what happened yesterday. There was lack of intent clearly from Temba Bavuma. When you know that you have lost a couple of wickets up front, you are clearly struggling. That's when you needed to change the gears. You probably needed to change the momentum by playing a few high-risk shots and seeing, what could happen. You should have targeted the likes of Pat Cummins, Hazelwood and Mitchell Starc. That wasn't to be the case. There was some signs of intent, today morning, but I think it just happened a little too late.
Well, there's one controversial moment of sorts that happened about half an hour, 1 hour back in the match,
just
and that
before
had to do
the
with,
session end, before session
yeah,
was ended.
so it was in the 49th over that moment happened, and we're going to be giving you a detailed story on that. But that's not the only that handling the ball thing that involved Bedingham. That isn't the only controversial bit. I'm guessing that's happening on social media right now. There's something to do with Shubman Gill's bat, Shashwat.
Yeah. Shubman Gill's bat. So basically, I was a little surprised, and asked Gulati sir this as well. Why today, out of nowhere, he's getting so much hate? Because this branding on his bat has been there since the time he got signed with this particular brand, MRF in particular. And MRF, as we all know, has been a legacy in that sense, in terms of having their stickers on bats of players who are touted to be the next big things. It was on the bat of Sachin Tendulkar, AB de Villiers. For a very brief while, it was on the bat of Prithvi Shaw as well, if you remember, when he had made his Indian debut, and then after that was...
Rightly so.
Yeah, rightly so. So now he does not have that. Now then they shifted to Shubman Gill. Of course, both of them, to begin with, it was Prithvi Shaw who was looking like being the next flag bearer of Indian cricket, but then whatever thing...
So now, because this photo shoot I think happened a couple of days back.
Yeah, with
now
the
I think these
broadcasters.
images are in public domain.
But these images were there. See, you knew about that brand even when the IPL was going on. Because
so I think it's the word Prince over there that's getting him all the flack.
Yeah. It's that.
But there's a comparison.
Is it some kind of a new addition by MRF?
That's my concern.
No, I'll tell you. Basically, I tried to look into it a lot, very deeply. Till now, with Virat Kohli's bat, it was genius written. Sachin Tendulkar also, it was
So
genius.
genius is written here as well.
Here also, right? Now, the only thing that I can understand from this is, I'll just give you the example of SG. When SG has a player edition bat, like they have a bat for Hardik Pandya. So that bat is SG, and then that model will be called HP, his jersey number. So does like Dhruv Jurel has a bat, where it is DJ, then his jersey number, or whatever number, like anything, they just call that a model number. Over here also, that is what I'm in a way understanding, that MRF would have wanted to, in that sense, personalize it. Okay. So that you just personalize it, so that tomorrow if I'm going to the market, I want to buy an MRF bat, I'll either...
You'll say Bhalla something.
No. I am not a player, na. I would want to buy a player's bat.
There's somebody in the studio who will definitely, if he was to give you a bat, I'm sure he'll get Bhalla and something else written.
Yeah, definitely.
A man smiling already.
That's a different thing. But I'm just giving you, just a younger generation looks up to such moments where they want to go out and buy the bat of a certain player. So MRF sticker, they'll go, and now everybody will start selling a bat that Shubman Gill uses with the same sticker. Till now it was just MRF Genius. Just to give that personalized touch, they have written Prince. The only problem over here now that he's getting so much hate is that he would have, of course, been in talk with MRF, and he would have been known about this fact. It's not like that he's denied it. So that is why he's getting so much hate.
I want to know, Shashwat. One is, what does Virat Kohli's bat say? And two, my limited understanding is that this isn't the first time he's using this bat. I think he was using the same bat in the IPL.
Championship.
So why this delayed anger, this delayed furore that we are seeing on social media?
Exactly. That is exactly what I asked Gulati sir also upstairs, that this is the same bat that he's been using for a very long time now, for 2 tournaments, Champions Trophy, then the whole of IPL, and now this now today. Maybe why suddenly this has popped out of nowhere is that now the focus is a lot more on that.
He's now the captain.
And not just the captain, this photo shoot has his bat over here, and you want to use so basically MRF also would have done a separate photo shoot to in a way portray that the next Indian test captain will be using their bat. So Prince is just for that personalization. Shubman Gill would have been in conversations about it. He would have been okay with it. There are 2 ways to look at it. He maybe would have said no to it also, saying that maybe I should not be called the Prince in that sense. But again, like I told you, if we go and have a look at the bat of Hardik Pandya or Dhruv, or any player who's playing international cricket,
you were talking about Virat.
It was just genius. You only shared that picture on the group.
So, but I think it says Grand Limited Edition. I think that's what it says. If you have a closer look at that image that I
Sachin Tendulkar's?
I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. With Virat, I think that's what it reads, Grand Limited Edition.
There's also VK18 embedded on it, if I'm not wrong.
Let's take a look at Virat's bat, and again we're not suggesting anything over here. This is just what we see right now. So let's bring you the images of Virat's bat. This is
Grand Limited Edition.
Yeah. Now can we see Sachin Tendulkar's also once? Yeah.
So first we're going to show you, just as we did for Shubman Gill, we're going to be showing you what Virat's bat has in terms of stickers and branding. But
sometimes I feel that this kind of a thing is just pretty unnecessary. Just because Shubman Gill is now going to be in the spotlight, he's now the test captain, in the most important format, he is going to be the leader of the side. I think these small things are just going to come up, and maybe an exaggeration, but I don't think this is something that's not really required.
Yeah, it feels totally unnecessary,
Yeah.
and I can see where this is coming from. It's coming from fans who've been extremely upset. It's a certain fan base and perhaps certain Tians who've been trolling him ever since he was named the captain of the Test side. There are a lot of videos doing the rounds of him getting knocked over, him getting castled. I see that a lot happen on Instagram particularly. So I'm guessing all of that machinery is coming together and targeting him all over again.
Anyone that he's using while playing would be a reliable
That's okay.
one.
We can come to Sachin's later. At the moment, I think it's Virat's bat that everyone's talking about, and we have that image ready with us. So we'll show you what bat Virat Kohli uses. This, ladies and gentlemen, on your screen is the bat that Virat Kohli uses. You see, there's that digital signature of Virat as well. Same branding, mostly. It's got English Willow, it's got the same Genius edition. But what it says is Grand Limited Edition in comparison to Shubman Gill's bat, which now reads Prince. So where you see Grand Limited Edition written at the bottom, that's where Shubman Gill's bat has Prince written. That's the difference.
Yeah,
right?
that's the only difference. And the only thing over there is that I think it's the branding of I'm just assuming Sachin's bat would have something else written. AB de Villiers would have had something else written. I remember Prithvi Shaw had PS 100 written on his bat because that's what his jersey number was also. So in that sense, I know that as per the contract, it is on the player also. He can deny using something if it's not something that he wants to promote, but I don't think that's been the case in that sense over here. So just the fact that it's Prince written, and because he's touted to be the Prince of Indian cricket, that is why MRF opted for that. Shubman Gill would have been okay with that as well. Like I'm telling you, every player bat you would see something personalized written over there. It's just that now he's the captain, it's Prince is written over there. That's why everybody is reading too much into it, but I don't see any problem with it because it's the
same. I think
brand
it's
that's
just too
doing
much, that's going on social media. Just because it becomes a highlight, and just because he is now going to be the most important member of that Indian cricket setup, doesn't mean that every small thing becomes an issue with respect to Shubman Gill. But anyhow,
and unfortunately he's undergoing a lot of criticism. I know that numbers don't speak for
the Senna form,
Senna form, and just in general, maybe captaincy. Not everybody is happy with it. Maybe we here also, not all of us would have wanted Shubman Gill the captain. Maybe a few of us wanted Rishabh Pant to be the captain. But now that he is the captain, he is a very young boy. He's just 24, 25 years of age. And now that he's the Indian captain, I think it's the time. Now is the time to back him. And this series, in that sense, is going to be very, very crucial for Shubman Gill.
And I think Shubman Gill doesn't have to wait for long to be able to send across a clear message. He's going to be involved in action tomorrow, as we understand. It's the intra-squad match that is going to start from tomorrow. It'll go on all the way till the 16th. But before we get into that, just a quick update on the World Test Championship final. Pat Cummins has completed his fifer, and in doing so, what has happened is that South Africa have been bowled out for a first innings total of 138. This is after all that had happened yesterday, 14 wickets falling. So it's only taken you a session and a half on the second day of this WTC final for South Africa to lose their remaining 6 wickets, and that's meant that they're now trailing Australia by 74 runs.
I think that's
We could very well see a result tomorrow.
It could happen, although see, usually the second and the third days are the best, for batting at Lords. But this time around, I think with South Africa, they actually put themselves into a shell, and that's why they have been bundled out for 138. I think if Australia can apply themselves well, anywhere, I think anything over 250 or 300, I'm talking about a cumulative total, I think that's going to be enough for Australia. Should be okay.
Yeah. Let's now shift our focus to the intra-squad match that everyone's been looking forward to. India, by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, were very clear that they didn't want a third match with an Australian, with an English side. They wanted an intra-squad match only. So what is it that's on the line for this Indian team? What is it that excites us about this intra-squad match?
Firstly, I want to know that is this going to be the same sort of an affair that we saw in Australia, where there were curtains and everything put? It was for the intra-squad game only, if I'm not wrong, where curtains were put, right? Was it for the intra-squad game or was it for practice?
It happened during practice.
Yeah.
No, wasn't for intra-squad game. I think
no.
intra-squad game journalists weren't allowed. There was no news that was coming out from there.
No,
It was, I think, it happened in Perth.
Yeah.
Where you had black sheets used to cover. It happened in the old WACA.
Western Australia Cricket Association
Yeah,
ground.
I think it happened in
So
the
that people
WACA
from
facility.
far away can't click pictures inside.
No, in fact, since you mentioned about that, even the staffers over there weren't allowed to take their phones. So I don't know if it's going to be that highly secure tomorrow, but otherwise, there's a pool of 16, 18 players that we can look forward to. Are we looking at a intense, highly competitive match, or this is about finding more answers that we possibly didn't find in the first two matches?
It's again going to be about looking for answers that the Indian team wants to, the people they want to look at. I think they will be given a lot of more opportunity to bat in that inter-squad game, even if somebody gets out. We've seen that on previous occasions as well, and I think that's also in a way that's okay. I personally would have wanted the Indian team to play a full-fledged unofficial test, a first-class game with any county over there, or with the England Lions, because that automatically makes it more competitive. Because over here tomorrow, when a Shubman, Gill, Yashasvi, Jaiswal come out to bat, and if unfortunately they get out on the very first delivery, they would know that they have another opportunity to bat somewhere down the line in the innings later on. They will be sent back again. So that just takes the intensity out a little bit, and that is why I don't feel it's going to be that high intensity. Where it feels like a game, proper game, and that I don't know how helpful that could be for the Indian team.
So maybe a proper match would have been better. Proper match.
That's always better.
I think for me, it's really about, finding more answers, in the lead up to the series here, because any which ways, let's just be clear that I think it's going to happen, for the first time in a very long time, I think in almost half a decade, that India will be without the services of three of their most important senior players, Kohli, Rohit and R. Ashwin. All three have retired from the format here. Shami is not
But R.
retired
Ashwin
here,
to overseas
but,
anyways didn't play much.
still, he was at least in and around the squad as far as the overseas test matches are concerned. So for me, I think this time around, it's going to be about finding, some answers, whether it's going to be about the pace attack. You will see, who might just go on to partner. Bumrah and Siraj will try and, answer all these questions here. Who could be your possible, top order batters, assuming, Jaiswal and Rahul, they look to be your sure shot openers, but who could bat at 3, 4. So there are many things that India, I think, they really need to take care of in this warm-up game, because it's not just about, just a couple of test matches. It's a long series, 5-match series. Not really going to define the Gill as a captain. He's still very young, but India need to start well. It's not about having a new WTC cycle. It's about the fact that, what has happened with this Indian team in the past few test matches or so. The loss to New Zealand at home, the Border Gavaskar Trophy loss, it turned out to be a thrashing, towards the end of 3-1. You would want to recover from it, and it's not really going to happen overnight, but the process, it has to start with the England tour, and the first part of it, the first step of it would be to finalize a playing 11. I'm sure the management would have it in their minds, but you would get a first idea of it in the intra-squad warm-up game.
I think more than the right playing 11, I am more interested to see what combination India takes in that sense. And I think that is something that you might come to know a lot by tomorrow. You'll see how much is a Nitish Kumar Reddy or a Shardul Thakur actually getting to bat or bowl. That's going to give you a very clear picture. For me personally, I think it's the approach that's going to matter a lot. Playing 11, see here or there, 1 or 2 players, you can still swap, you have opportunities. But if your approach, the base was only wrong, where you're flawed, where you're trying to fill in your team with as many batting options as possible, trying to bat as deep as possible, and you're okay with compromising a couple of fast bowlers here or there, then I think that is something that's going to be very flawed. I just hope that does not happen. It happened in Australia. Over there, conditions were still a little batting friendly, but over here, I think you'll need 4 out and out fast bowlers plus a Jadeja. That makes it 5 bowling options and then 6 batting options. I think that should be very clear.
For a Shardul or Reddy?
I see, out of the 4, 1 can be there. I would not go with a Nitish Kumar Reddy because I am counting him as a full-time batter in that sense. So I would want 4, as in 3 fast bowlers plus Shardul and Jadeja.
Okay.
That just gives
one
you
fast bowling all-rounder.
one fast bowling. No, Shardul Thakur is somebody who can not win you a game with his bowling, but he can definitely win you a session with his bowling. Nitish Kumar Reddy can't do that. That's why I'm just considering Shardul Thakur a full-time fast bowler who will contribute with the bat if required. But I'm not expecting too much from him. I'm expecting most of the bulk run scoring from the top 6. And that should be the approach by the Indian team, which wasn't there in Australia. So I just hope here better sense prevails and Shubman Gill comes out with that approach. And Gautam Gambhir too.
How excited are we about Jasprit Bumrah? Are we expecting him to be actively involved tomorrow, or is it going to be he's going to be wrapped in cotton wool and just he gets a little sneak in, that's it?
I think he's going to take part. See, his preparation for the England tour, I'm not sure how ideal it has been. He last, featured in a test match. Obviously, it was the BGT, Sydney test. Although it was the last test match of this Indian team only. They are going to, feature in a test match after a gap of 5 months. But ever since then, he has only played the IPL, has done, some kind of training at NCA to recover from that back injury. Not sure, how this IPL would be a good preparation for him and also for the other Indian batters. But then for Bumrah, I think you would want him to bowl a few overs in this, intra-squad game just to check his fitness. One thing is for sure that you're not going to have Bumrah for all 5 test matches. It's a call that you will have to take depending upon the conditions. Whether in Leeds you feel that, if it's more of a dry wicket, then it's better to preserve Bumrah for the remaining, 3 or 4 test matches. So better to test him out now and see, how his body is shaping up. But for Morne Morkel, what he has said, that Bumrah is showing great energy on the field and he looks good to go.
Well.
Yeah.
See him bowl a maximum of 5 to 10 overs at
But
the
then-
max. That would with Jasprit Bumrah, I don't think you need to see anything. You know what he offers. It's just for him to get the line lengths correct in that sense, what the conditions, and just get the feel of the whole situation, how the weather is, what the right line or length would be there. I think it's his 3rd England tour, if I'm not wrong, or 2nd. 18 he was 18,
Yeah,
he was there.
2018 he missed the first 2 test matches
But he
due to
was
hand
there.
injury, but he played the last 3 matches.
And then he played 2021 also, and now this is going to be his 3rd tour in that sense. So he's a very experienced campaigner. I don't think you need to see much of him. Already he's going to be playing 2 test matches less. So just let him rest, let him relax, just get a feel of the things. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. And that is why I don't not a too big a fan of such intra-squad games. We've seen them in the past where sometimes Sarfaraz is keeping, somebody else is batting, everybody is roaming around. I think we got to know what happened when India played that.
Sarfaraz can still be involved tomorrow.
He will have to be involved, otherwise they won't have 22 players in all. But
What will you like to see from him tomorrow?
I don't see you'll, as soon as he gets to a 50, you'll send him back because you would want other batters
Didn't
to
even
get
play him
time.
in the second match.
Yeah, and
You were happy with the 90 odd that he scored.
Tomorrow he has to be a part of the 11. Either ways.
Yeah.
won't be a full house.
Tomorrow even Ishan Kishan will have to play.
Yeah, he will be the wicketkeeper of India if I'm not wrong. Because I'm assuming Dhruv Jurel playing here for the Indian team.
With Rishabh Pant resting.
No.
You're saying?
Both of them playing.
Okay.
Dhruv Jurel playing as a batter.
Okay.
And Sai Sudarshan opening for India, eh? That's what you'll see.
That's something that obviously we can
Then
get
he can
to
bat
later.
here also, there also.
But
It's just a
let's get to it. Let's go ahead and name the one thing that, in our respective opinion, we feel has to be the major lookout for the Indian team, or the one big answer that they're looking for. And we can start with Gulati.
I'm really looking forward to have some kind of answers regarding who could be a number 3. Now that's basically assuming that
Number 3 batter, number 3 bowler.
Number 3
Fast
batter.
bowler.
We'll also get to that. But number 3 batter, see, then that's assuming that Gill is going to push himself down to number 4, and that's where he probably sees a long-term future for himself. See, also Gill was the only one who went to the management and told them that he wants to bat at number 3, and he was given that position after Cheteshwar Pujara was eventually dropped. I think since then he has done well in the Asian conditions. There's a reason why he is known as second innings Gill in the subcontinent conditions, but Sena form has been pretty underwhelming to say the least here. So for Gill, it's a point to prove. Definitely, assuming he shifts himself down to number 4. At 3, I think it's going to be a toss-up between 3 players, I feel here. Karun, Nair, Abhimanyu Ishwaran, and 3rd is going to be Sai Sudarshan. Now, I'm not sure, if how much we should look into the practice sessions, because there was a lot of focus or an extended focus on Sai Sudarshan when he was batting in tandem with Shubman Gill. So now whether that's an indication that, you know, it's going to be 3 or 4, whether Sudarshan at 3, Gill at 4, or Gill at 3, Sudarshan at 4, we don't know what's going to happen. But that's one thing that I'm looking forward to with Ishwaran. He has always been in and around the India A or the India setup. Still hasn't gotten any chance there with the international team. And obviously for Karun Nair, I think he is returning after a long layoff into the Indian team. Now he would be desperate to get, you know, a couple of games or maybe a full series here. And if I am Karun Nair at this particular position, you ask me which position I would want to bat, I would say I would bat at any position, because I'm getting a chance to play for India after a long time. I know I wouldn't really have as long a future in front of me as maybe as that of a Shubman Gill or a Sai Sudarshan. So I would be happy to take any chance, you know, that I get. So for me, if one thing that I'm looking forward to is, you know, some answers around the number 3 slot, and if the maybe the recent practice session or the recency bias, if that is anything to go by, I think it could be Sai Sudarshan.
At 3.
Yeah.
See, ideally Karun Nair should be the one who should be batting at number 4 in all likelihood, in all, if everything is as per plan and what we have seen so far, because he got that double 100 at number 4, he played Ranji Trophy at number 4, but we are just assuming, and in all likelihood it looks like it's going to be Shubman Gill who will be pushing himself even further down at number 4. I think he would have wanted to do that since the very beginning, but because there was a certain Virat Kohli over there who you would not have wanted to move absolutely in any circumstances, he was playing at number 3. Now that slot is empty, you'll have a Shubman Gill coming at number 4, I'm sorry. So now there are 2 possibilities to this whole situation. There are 2 slots empty in that sense. One is at number 3, one is at number 5, 6. Assuming Rishabh Pant at 6, and then you are slotting in a batter at number 5. So in 2 slots, you have options of Abhimanyu Easwaran, Karun Nair, Dhruv, Jurel, and this person, Sai Sudarshan. These 4 players you have. 2 will be playing. I'm assuming if I look into the warm-up games, it could be straight away be Karun Nair at 3 and Dhruv Jurel at 5. Because Dhruv Jurel has gotten those runs. But if the practice sessions are to be looked at, and the way Sai Sudarshan has made an impact in the last couple of months, and the way he's come into this test team, I don't think that could be a possibility. Because you played Dhruv Jurel in Australia after he got those runs in the warm-up games, he's looked really good. He's looked really good here also. Now, do you want to go in with a Dhruv Jurel, or because you're looking at you're looking at a long-term number 3 is what I'm trying to understand over here. You're looking at somebody who can play for at least this cycle and a couple of years. So you'd want a Sai Sudarshan to be fit in there, and then at number 5, you'll have a Karun Nair
lasting the whole time.
See, that's how you're looking at him. That's how you're looking. But his numbers in England have been really good. He averaged 70, if I'm not wrong, in county cricket.
It was more than 50 that I know, 50, but not the
it was 70.
Thing,
it was 70 is what he averaged in county cricket, and I think this time the selectors have looked a lot into the county numbers of players. That is why you got in, and that is why you got in an Arshdeep also, because Arshdeep had
Karun Nair too.
Karun Nair too.
Also, Karun had a very strong domestic season.
And 2018 when India A played over there, Karun Nair was part of that squad also, and there also he had a couple of runs if I'm not mistaken. So that is why you've looked into a lot of experience in that sense of players who have played in the English conditions. So in that sense, Karun Nair, do you see Karun Nair playing at number 3 for a long-term perspectives? I think ideally he should be batting at 5 then.
See, he can easily last this cycle at least.
At number 3?
I'm not seeing him bat at number 3. If you ask me, I want to see him bat where he's the most comfortable and where we've seen him bat more often, and that's number 4.
But then who is your number 3?
Yeah.
My number 3 remains the present number 3 for the
Gill.
Indian team.
Okay.
Yes.
And 4 for you is Karun Nair. And then who comes at 5?
Again, he got you runs in the first match where he got that double 100. That I think came when he was batting at number 3. But then he scored runs in the second match as well. In the second India A match, I can't recall how many he scored, but definitely a 50+ score I remember him getting. So I wouldn't want to change that, also because there is going to be so much, and there, let's say this.
And then who comes in at 5 for you then?
5 is Rishabh Pant.
6
will be one between either a Reddy or a Jurel. But I think Reddy to begin with, because he got you that century
+1 for me
in Melbourne.
So you're seeing Reddy at 6, 5 Rishabh Pant.
5 Rishabh Pant. I'm not moving Rishabh Pant. See, I don't want to move too many things over here in this side.
See,
and with Gill,
Harshit sir, assume that Shubman Gill is batting at 4 because all signs at this time are showing that he's batting at 4. So then what will you do? At 3?
Then you'll have to have Karun Nair bat at number 3.
You'd want to settle Karun Nair at number 3 or at number 5?
See, if I put him at 5, then I'll have to put Pant at 6, Jadeja at 7, and
8, 9, 10, 11, you can have Shardul plus 3
or
fast
maybe
bowlers.
7 could have been. Then, see, if I'm going with the Reddy, in my team, Reddy and Shardul both can't play. Only one of them plays. I can't have a situation where both of them play. I think I'll be playing either a specialist bowler less or a specialist batter less. So I don't see the two of them playing at the moment together.
Seeing how the team
just to ensure that things remain as sturdy as they can be, I think in the best interest of the Indian team, it's to have KL Rahul, Yashasvi Jaiswal right up top. At number 3, you have your regular number 3. That is Shubman Gill. Also, with so much happening in his life right now, becoming one of the youngest Indian skippers in Test cricket. Then this needless controversy like the bat sticker controversy that erupted this morning has also come about. You don't want more to happen on the cricket field and him to be burdened with that. We anyway know that the transition wasn't that smooth for him from number 1 to number 3, and now from 3 to 4. Yes, the opening is there, but how much does he really want it? He really wanted to bat at number 3 is what we.
He wanted to bat in the middle order. Now ideally
he told Dravid that no, I want to go ahead and bat at number 3. So I'm just saying, when in the life of Shubman Gill there is so much happening. You just lost a Test series. You didn't have a good outing in Australia. Why add another cause of worry, or why add more uncertainty? You continue to bat at 3.
Harshit sir is not able to leave a mark.
At 4, so he's been getting runs in India batting at number 3, na?
But again, runs in India, he won't be looking too much.
So I just feel you'll be moving too many pieces. So you have him bat at number 3. That's 3 players who are used to playing in those positions play there in their natural position. At 4, you've again got somebody who's used to playing exactly around that mark, which is Karun Nair. 5 is again a Pant who has been batting at number 5. So at least your top 5 that ways are players who are not batting out of position.
Yeah.
The moment that you push Shubman to number 4, that's when everything changes, because there's somebody else who needs to now bat at number 3, and you will have a Rishabh Pant bat from 5 to 6. So that's too many pieces moving all at the same time in this Indian team for me.
But Shubman Gill is batting. Ideally, according to me, he should have never left the opening spot altogether, because that was where he was looking very comfortable. Now that he's left it and he always wanted to bat in the middle order, I think it's almost certain now that he's going to be walking out at number 4, and Prince for a reason, right? Taking the position where King used to bat. Now that does not.
I don't like that logic one bit.
Yeah, but
it's no cricketing logic.
It is no cricketing logic. But the fact of the matter is, he wanted to bat in the middle order. Middle order ideally is number 4 when you just look at it properly. Yes. And now that it's open, I think he immediately will go capture it.
Shivam wants to come in as well. He has something to tell us.
I want Jaiswal and Gill open. Number 3 KL Rahul. Number 4 Karun Nair. Number 5 Rishabh Pant, and so on.
Oh, so
that's not a bad idea at all. But I think
okay. Shivam of the opinion that KL Rahul should be the one to bat at number 3. Gill should go ahead and now as captain go back to opening. So Gill and Yashasvi open for him. At number 3 is KL Rahul. Number 4 is Karun Nair, and number 5 is Rishabh Pant. But it feels like an unpopular opinion at the moment.
Ideally, it's a good.
We would have learnt about it otherwise. But yeah, that's what.
Like we are learning that he'll come out at number 4.
Yeah.
I think in all likelihood, Sai Sudarshan might just get his test cap, and he comes in at number 3.
It's more than likely it will happen at Leeds.
Because then he'll bat at 3, 4 you'll have Shubman Gill, 5 you'll have Karun Nair, 6 you'll have Rishabh Pant. And then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
7 will be one.
That is going to be very interesting. Are you going to
so
go
either
with
Reddy plays at 8 or Thakur? That's going to be the thing.
Or both play. And
No
then
Jadeja.
you go no Jadeja, and then you play a
Sundar.
No. Not even Sundar.
So
Then
no
you have three
spinner,
fast
you're saying?
bowlers. Yeah, could be a possibility.
Okay, that's...
Or there could be a possibility
I
where
think
you...
in Leeds you do need a spinner. I think sometimes the
But
wicket
you know
tends to
what?
dry up.
Just the obsession with batters, they could also do one thing that I hope they don't, that they go in with three fast bowlers, in which one is Shardul, and then you play Nitish and Jadeja. So in that sense, you're getting in Nitish, Shardul and Jadeja, all three. And then you're batting till number
So you're saying your
8,
third
9.
pacer is Shardul?
I'm saying they could do it the way they did it in Australia. I hope they
Personally,
do.
I wouldn't want it, but what
Nobody
he's
would want
saying,
it.
it's a possibility because that's the thing, the problem in the BGT was that you were playing bits and pieces cricketers a lot, na? That's when you needed specialists. But moving on, a second point that you would want to look forward
See,
to.
I'm more worried about the bowling right now. I don't know who will be that third pacer for the Indian team. As Shashwat said, there is a possibility of you could be looking at a Shardul Thakur for that matter. But I think, while to begin with, it's going to be Bumrah at one end and Siraj from the other. I don't know who that third fast bowler is. You've got an Akashdeep, you've got an Arshdeep, you've got a Prasidh Krishna. Akashdeep, underwhelming in terms of IPL. We didn't see a lot of him. Also not his best suited format. Then you've got a Prasidh who was impressive, who took part in the warm-up match in Australia, as well as I think you saw him play in the last match.
Sydney
as well.
Test, and he was pretty impressive.
He was pretty impressive as well. So there is that side of Prasidh, and he's now the Purple Cap winner of the IPL as well. Let's not forget. And then there is the case of Arshdeep Singh. I think the few days of cricket that we'll be seeing Indian team involved in, I think that is the biggest answer you need to be looking for. Who is going to be that bowler? Are you going to be going with a Arshdeep who comes in with the experience of playing in the county, who we've seen swing the ball, the white ball, quite a lot in the IPL, be it under lights, be it at times in sunny conditions? If you ask me personally, I'm going to be trying out Arshdeep Singh. Though I'm looking forward to finding more answers over the next couple of days. But for me, it's a toss-up between Prasidh and Arshdeep at the moment. And that's what I'm looking forward to seeing in this intra-squad match.
For me personally, I'd also want to go with Arshdeep Singh, and the only reason for that is that I feel he's more suited to the English conditions, whereas in Australia, I think it was Prasidh Krishna who hits the hard length, he hits the deck hard, but Arshdeep Singh over here knows how to swing the ball. He has that control. I know at times in English conditions, it just swings so much that many bowlers are not able to control that swing. But with Arshdeep, we have seen that he really controls the ball really well. He had really good numbers when he played the county season last time around as well. So just because of that reason, I think
I think if
Prasidh
5
Krishna
matches picked up 13 wickets.
Prasidh Krishna is no less of a bowler in that sense, skill wise, especially what we saw in the IPL. But just on the basis of conditions, I'd go with Arshdeep, Siraj and Jasprit Bumrah. And as soon as Jasprit Bumrah is not available, then I'll slot in a Prasidh.
For me also, it's a toss-up between Prasidh and Arshdeep. And see, the England conditions, they are not, what they used to be about a few years ago. The pitches are more flat now, and knowing the way England really play, the baseball kind of approach, I think they are going to be flat and fast wickets. So if that is really the case, for me, the third seamer would be Prasidh Krishna. But if you are having, more swinging conditions across the 5 test matches, then I think Arshdeep Singh is a no-brainer. He has to play ahead of Prasidh and Akashdeep, because in that particular case, Arshdeep, the way he has been swinging the white ball also both ways, I think that's an encouraging sign. And it was, goes way back in 2023 when Rahul Dravid had a chat with him and told him to specifically play in the in county cricket, and he did that. And there's a reason why now he is
ended
a
up
part,
sending him to the same county that he played for.
Kent, yeah. So that's the thing. I think with Arshdeep,
it was one could see that in the IPL as well. I don't know if this was a message from the Indian team that, listen, we want to see you work on your swing a bit, because on quite a few occasions you saw, barring I think in that first qualifier where if you ask me, he bowled extremely short. Otherwise, you could see at the start with Arshdeep bowling with the new ball, you could see him going for swing, looking for swing, going extremely full at times. That's at least the impression I got in the power play when he was bowling, always trying to look for the swing.
True. So That's, I think, one of the points that we have touched upon.
I think Shashwat's yet to.
I just said Arshdeep Singh, I think, and
No, but so Gulati's made his point about
Prasid Krishna.
yeah.
I said about Arshdeep because I feel
we're talking about the 3 things to look forward to. I told about the number 3 slot.
just
Yeah.
before
Number
that,
3,
just
so yeah.
on Arshdeep, I had one more point. The only thing is that I feel in England, more than the wicket, it's going to be the conditions that
Yeah.
the ball is going to swing. Not just that, the ball is also going to be dukes. So even if the wickets are flat, even if it's a belter of a track, the ball is still going to swing, and it's going to swing till the very last moments of the ball. So in that sense, I'd continue. I'd want Arshdeep Singh a sure shot starter at least in the first test to
Since-
see how he.
Since you weren't around, there's something Gulati memorized yesterday, and I'll let him remind you, tell you, and remind the others as well of what he memorized yesterday. And he said it on our show yesterday night as well. Since you spoke about not looking at the wicket and looking at the conditions, in the words of Stuart Broad,
Don't look at the pitch, look at the clouds.
Exactly.
That's what he told South African bowlers.
That's exactly how it is in England, and that's how it's. That is why I'd go with Arshdeep Singh. But the one thing that I'm really looking forward to is the role of the 3 all-rounders. Is Shardul Thakur, Nitish Kumar Reddy, and Washington Sundar. To be very honest, Washington Sundar's inclusion in Test teams.
And with that said, you're saying Jadeja does
Jadeja,
play.
yeah, he's
the incumbent
a
number
sure
7,
shot.
yeah.
He's a
Again,
sure
you
shot
don't put him in the
starter,
same
yeah.
category.
And he's definitely going to play all 5 Test matches until and unless he's injured. So these 3, I'm very skeptical about the role of Washington Sundar and Nitish Kumar Reddy. How are they going to be used? I think they are batters who can bowl. So in that sense, they are competing with a Dhruv Jurel, they are competing with an Abhimanyu Ishwaran, of course not the same slot.
Sai Sudarshan.
Even Sai Sudarshan, that is their competition. Now in that sense, are they equally good batters as compared to all of them? That is going to be very, very interesting to see tomorrow, because as soon as any one of them goes and score runs, I think the team will be even more inclined to utilize them, because then what they could do is, if they go in with two all-rounders in the sense of Jadeja, they can either go in with Nitish Kumar Reddy or a Shardul Thakur, or even both of them on occasions. So in that sense, tomorrow, who scores how many runs, that is really going to be telling a lot.
Okay, let's take a few comments now. Karthik has a comment that Australia doing Australia things, or rather we should say Cummins doing Cummins things. That's what he's saying. Dr. Dave Walker is saying Australia defending their WTC title. South Africa were just lucky. I'm not really sure, whether you can call South Africa lucky. Yes, they played lesser number of matches in comparison to most of the other teams. And I think that's where the loophole lies. This is where I think the ICC needs to set a criteria that in order for you to be in contention for a final slot, you need to play these many amount of matches. But yeah, this is something that, we have had a discussion in the last few dugouts also. Profit Search has a question that why do we need 3 spinners for England? We have only 6 specialist batters. See, the 3 spinners that you have is Jadeja, Washington Sundar and Kuldeep Yadav. 2 out of them are clearly all-rounders. In case of Jadeja, he is an established all-rounder, can do his role with both bat and ball pretty much to perfection. And in case of Washington Sundar, you're actually looking at him more as a batting all-rounder who can just bowl a bit. And that's the kind of reputation that Washington Sundar has built over the years. Even in the Border Gavaskar Trophy also, he did not really bowl much. And in case of Kuldeep Yadav, I think it's just only one thing that I'll say, that I hope he gets some game time. It looks very tough for him to play, most of the matches. The only the likely venue where he could, get a game is the Oval, wherein you more often than not you would require 2 spinners. But apart from that, don't really see any major role for Kuldeep. But if you ask me, I would play Kuldeep Yadav all 5 matches.
let's move forward with more questions from you guys.
Freaking Awesome is saying that if Akash does not deliver this time, Anshul Kamboj may get a chance in the next test series. I don't think Akash did anything wrong in that Border Gavaskar Trophy. He played a couple of test matches in Bangladesh, against New Zealand also at home. But overall, not really sure, what wrong has he done. He had a lot of, there were a lot of edges that he was able to enforce, but unfortunately they did not carry, which does not really mean that, he bowled any bad in comparison to both Bumrah and Siraj, who were actually India's workhorses across the 5 test matches. So for Akashdeep, I think it's just about the wickets column. That was pretty good initially. Did not really happen in BGT. I think if he gets those chances, I'm sure that he's going to come good.
These are going to be ideal conditions for him.
Any more comments, Shivam?
Freaking Awesome says Temba Bavuma should retire for sure. He doesn't meet the standards of an international batter at all. Before anyone supports him, please see his record. South Africa misses someone like a Dean Elgar.
That was something that I was also referring to in case of Temba Bavuma, that in the overseas conditions he hasn't really been good in subcontinent conditions too. Pretty much has scored most of his runs at home. That's where I think the majority of the problem lies.
See, his numbers in this WTC aren't that bad, but
one of the top run getters for
he's
South Africa.
South Africa's second highest run getter.
Yeah, behind David Bedingham.
Yeah. But I think yesterday the approach, that timid approach from him was very unfitting of a leader.
Yeah,
and very unbecoming.
As good a leader he was on the field yesterday in the first innings, but I think with the bat, he literally failed to step up when it was required. That was the time for South Africa to put pressure on Australia, but it did not happen. Fit Monk has an interesting comment that Indian fans, it's like it's time for Africa, but Cummins, he's still alive.
That's true. Many of us were rooting for South Africa for the sole reason that you wanted to see a new champion emerge, but clearly at the moment it's Australia who are leading the WTC race in this final.
Last comment by Priyanka. I feel Gill will play in at 3 and Karun Nair at 4.
Priyanshu also has a comment. He says Virat always has a number 3. Virat was always a number 3 in white and middle order in test. Gill is a natural opener. No need for Gill to change now.
Maybe that also makes sense. At number 3, I think it's a pretty sure shot position.
Yeah.
Anything else? Do we have? Okay. Freaking Awesome has another comment. Before the WTC, we witnessed high scoring test matches, but the number has reduced considerably after WTC introduced in 2019. But one thing that's really happening is that you are having more result-oriented matches.
You move towards cricket that's result-oriented. We saw an infamous declaration happen in the previous Ashes, and that was all because England at that time wanted a result. So yeah, these things are happening. More and more teams are pushing for results now. Chale, on that, is there anything that one wants to say right now?
Karun Nair 150 intra-squad game.
Intra-squad. Sajid, your prediction, one bold prediction.
Rishabh Pant is making a comeback in this test series.
Rishabh Pant? No,
in this test series. With the bat.
With the bat. That to series prediction. Na?
Just for the intra-squad game.
Intra-squad match. What
Karun Nair 150, I'm saying.
Yeah, one bold prediction if you were to make.
I have a feeling Washington Sundar getting some runs. Quite a few runs.
100?
So adding more problem.
Yeah.
A good headache.
Then
Sweet headache.
Can play him at number 3 then.
I think you're going to be seeing runs from Sarfaraz.
Oh.
It can't be more than 50, na?
And they'll because ask him to retire.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Gulati, your bold prediction before we go.
Karun Nair 150?
150. Chale, on that we've made our bold predictions. In case you're joining us right now, do drop in your predictions, and we're going to be getting you the latest, not just from the India intra-squad match that starts tomorrow, but also the WTC final which is underway. South Africa are reeling at the moment. They're still looking for that first dismissal in the second innings, trailing by more than 80 runs at the moment after a promising start to day 2. We will be back. This is not it here on Sports Day as on Thursday. There's more content coming your way. There was a controversy that happened during the Australian innings as well. So we're coming up with a video on that. But for everything that's happening throughout the course of the day at Lord's, we're going to be joining you at night as we did yesterday. So the moment the last ball is bowled in London, you know where to come, and that's where we'll give you a full recap of the day's play in this WTC final. For now, thank you so much for giving us your precious time, and we look forward to meeting you again. Bye bye.